In today's video, I didn't just want to talk about manifestation, but how we can actually use the laws of physics and quantum physics in particular, and how that backs up the power of manifestation. Now, this video was inspired by the book Transurfing by a quantum physicist, a Russian quantum physicist by the name Vadim Zeland. And he came up with a very interesting concept where he looks at the universe as a mirror. And we being the object, and the universe casts an image directly on whatever we think, say, or perceive as reality. And when you start looking at reality as the image that you form using your thoughts, you start getting very conscious about what you think and how you perceive different situations. And this also brings me to another term that he mentioned, is called amalgam. Now, back in the day, amalgam was used to better the reflection of a mirror by adding gold to it. Now, the way that translates into manifestation, it's amalgam is going to be how we look and think of certain situations, how we perceive certain situations. Our thought and our perception is the gold that we add to the mirror of reality. When we start getting conscious of how we perceive certain events, we start writing our reality. We start creating our own reality through that. And at this point, I want to bring to your attention about one of the laws of quantum physics, which is the law of observer, which states that the act of observing something directly impacts the object that is being observed. So nothing that you observe goes about being unaffected by the observer. For example, in an extreme situation, if you guys have seen that video where a person looks into the spoon and he changes the shape or bends the spoon just by looking at it, now that's the power of your thought and your energy that you have. Because your thoughts actually, in the physical realm, impacts the subatomic particles of the object you're looking at, which kind of blows my mind. Because when you think about it, how does a thought, that's something so intangible, affect the physical realm that actually has physical atoms you can touch and feel, that's so tangible? There may not be an apparent correlation between your thoughts and the tangible world, but in reality, you are writing your destiny. You are writing your story as you speak. And just think about your thoughts in that perspective changes the way you look at reality. You start getting more conscious that whatever your thoughts are, whatever object you are, is the image you form in reality. So for example, in the situation of a car accident, you might wonder, why me? Why did I have to get hit? There are so many other people. Why do I have to get late for work? But that's creating a very negative object to be reflected on. And the image turns out to be a complete reflection of your object. And that's complete negative as well then. In the end of the day, that is where manifestation starts, is changing the perspective of how you look at events. And science backs that. And it kind of just helps you get more conscious about the way you perceive events. Because if you look at it, we don't know what the chains of events are going to be. When you think about it, you meet a person, and then you meet another person through that person, right? And you meet a whole group of other people. But a small event could have changed the reality and could have changed the fact that you met that first person, which created a whole chain of events. So when it comes to a negative situation, we don't know if it's positive or negative. And perceiving an event negative, just because it in the real physical world it looks negative, creates an illusion for us. Because we leave no chance for that event to turn out into something more positive and beautiful later on. And this is where I come up with an exercise that I tell myself to do. Is I don't know if the event is good or bad, but it is the best for me. It is going according to plan. That's an affirmation I tell myself every time I find myself in a situation that I just can't perceive. Is this the best thing that could have happened? I just tell myself, and I believe that this is the best thing that could have happened to me. Now, I know a lot of people may think of this as, oh, you're being delusional, you're not being realistic, quote unquote. But the fact is, you're writing your story, and I don't know how people even define what's real or what's not real. Because if you are writing your story, then you are writing reality. And so reality is based on your thoughts. And take a minute to kind of comprehend that. When you really acknowledge that you hold the pen to your destiny, then you realize that maybe I'm not being delusional. Maybe what is realistic and what's not realistic is up to me. So another way I like to think of this is running on a track. Now, a lot of people think that I can just manifest whatever I want without holding myself accountable by not doing any action towards that manifestation. So if I think about this as a track that I'm running on, the track itself is the act of manifestation, and getting from point A to point B, which is running, is the action you take in your life through manifestation, right? So if you're not manifesting, if you are creating a negative environment in your mind and reflecting that onto reality, imagine the track being sandy and muddy and just difficult to run on. But reflecting a positive image onto reality through your thoughts and perception, you are making that track the perfect place to run on, the most smoothest track to get to and run from point A to point B most efficiently and quickly as possible. So that is the track in itself is manifestation. The act of running is the action you take through manifestation. So with that being said, I hope you guys get some perspective on what the power of manifestation is and how you could actually use it to your advantage. It is tough. It is an act that you do over and over again and change that and have that conscious change in perception of events. And when you do that, you're creating an environment of such abundance that it helps you create more opportunities. It helps you leave room for more positive outcomes, not necessarily a surefire way that something good's going to come out of every time, but the possibility that you left room for something good to come out of it puts you in a very, very different position than just judging the situation by saying, oh, why me? Or why such a negative situation? So with that being said, it's a conscious change in your mind that you have to take. And it's a practice that takes time to adjust to, because it's hard to come composed in a situation of chaos. But that is where manifestation actually shines and makes the most difference. So guys, if you liked this video and got something out of it or changed your perspective, please leave a thumbs up. And if you want to see more content on spirituality, wellness, or neuroscience, do subscribe and I'll come up with more content just like this. Until then, peace out.